So already in the first paragraph, we have some serious life changes. Now how do we move forward? The prophet Jeremiah writes in chapter 1, verse 17, "Don't be broken with fear before them, lest I break you in front of them." Don't be afraid before things happen, because if you do it, I'll actually cause them just because you're afraid. The Gemara in Masechet Brachot says, Yehuda ben Natan was walking behind Rav Hamnuna. Yehuda ben Natan went like this. You know, all of us do it. I do it 5 times a day. Like one of those, like you're like frustrated with life. I can't believe it. Like one of those things. Do it 900 times a day sometimes. Well, apparently there's something wrong with that. Why? Yehuda ben Natan sighed, and Rav Hamnuna says, "Are you trying to bring suffering to your life?" Suffering to my life? Why? I just went, I do it. A lot of people do it. He goes, yeah, that symbolizes something. Symbolizes frustration. Frustration symbolizes lack of bitachon. You have no trust in Hashem. You have no faith in Hashem. You're making a sin right now. Hashem's going to punish you for it. What are you doing? This is, a Tana made this mistake. It's not just an average Joe. Made a mistake. Why? Because we forget ourselves sometimes. Human nature. He says, but you making this mistake is a problem. You could bring yourself some serious problems. Because the prophet Job said, the object that I feared, because I feared it, it came upon me. Just because I feared it, that's what happened to me. Job was afraid of losing all of his money. He lost all of his money. He was afraid of losing all of his sons, all of his kids. All of them died in the same day. He was afraid of losing his health. Got sick to a point where worms were coming out of his body. All the things he was afraid of, that's what happened to him. Meaning, he got to live his own nightmare. Of course, he was at the level to overcome it, but nonetheless, he says that this is a problem. Why? Because the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20, verse number 1, says that when you go out to war and you see horses and chariots, don't be afraid of them. What does it mean? The Rambam, in his Sefer HaMitzvot, says that it's a negative mitzvah. Lo ta'aseh, mitzvah lo ta'aseh, not to have fear when at war. If a person has fear when he's going to war, he has to return from the battlefield. The reason is because the fear itself may cause other people to die. Him and other people to die. Because if he dies, he's afraid to die. What does Hashem do? Hashem says, oh, you have no bitachon in me? You don't think I'm going to protect you? I'll kill you. Now what happens? If he dies, it's not just him dying by himself. Why? He dies, some other soldiers depending on him to cover him. He's depending on his cover. He died, there's no cover. The guy doesn't realize he's shooting this way. He thinks he's covering for him, but he died already. So what happens? He thinks everything's okay. The guy comes back behind. That's 2 now. 3, 4, 5. David HaMelech, alav shalom, would say anyone that even spoke as a mistake, made a mistake, and spoke between putting his arm tefillin and his head tefillin. You're not supposed to speak. You put on your arm tefillin, you're supposed to say the blessing, and be quiet until you finish your head tefillin and tying your arm tefillin. And even then, you're not allowed to speak mundane things. You're only allowed to pray. A lot of people speak mundane things, having tefillin on. The Gemara Masechet Shabbat says very, very bad things about people like that. Horrible things. Needless to say, David HaMelech says sometimes there's a mistake. People make a mistake where they're not thinking, and they put on their tefillin, and the arm tefillin, and somebody says, hey, how you doing? And they say, yeah, I'm good. Baruch Hashem. Oh, I'm not allowed to speak. So what do? You have to put on the head tefillin and do a second bracha. David HaMelech says, yes, even though there's a pitaron, there's a solution to it, because you spoke in between, it's still not good. It's still not 100% kosher. Why? You mentioned Hashem's name one more time than was really necessary. You weren't really supposed to mention him the second time as the second blessing. Meaning you made an extra blessing to save your mistake. That's enough. I don't want you to be a soldier. David HaMelech says, I don't want you to be a soldier for me. Why? Just that is enough for Hashem to kill you in the war. And if you die, you cause other people to die. Do me a favor, go back to your wife, play with your kids. Don't come to war with us. We don't need you. Now, who is this person? Not only is this person a gibor, a warrior, you always have room for warriors, but he's a tzaddik too. What's his sin? It's not like we're saying his sin was zera levatala, wasting seed, married woman. No, chilul Shabbat. No, people like that get death penalty. No, this guy, what did he do? What sin did he make? He just spoke by accident. He said, Baruch Hashem, in between the tefillin. David HaMelech says, do me a favor, go back to your wife. Why? You're going to kill us. You're going to kill us. So here we see that a person, even if a person's mind is not in the right place, already we don't want him to go to war. Even more so, even if he didn't make a sin like that. Or simply, he had human nature, which is, he's afraid to die. Why? Poor guy, he's already not in his best shape ever. He's got 3-4 kids at home. His wife. He's got a mortgage. He's got a company. He's got a business. He's got employees. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He hasn't been going to the gym. And now you're telling me he has to go to war? So he's thinking, you know what, I'm not like what I used to be. I was 18 years old. I was strong. I was this. I was a sniper. Now I'm a little slow. And plus my knee hurts a little bit. And my shoulder, I don't know, he's a little worried. He's a little worried that maybe I'm not going to survive this war. So when he says goodbye to his wife, he says, honey, we had a good time. I love you. Take care of the kids for me. Like one of those goodbyes, I don't know if I'm going to see you again. Torah says, you, my friend, are not allowed to go to war. Why? That safek, that doubt that you have in your mind, could actually be enough for Hashem to kill the person. Hashem Yechem. And if that person dies, Hashem Yechem, it causes other people to die. Do us a favor, stay home.